You don't just become successful, you know? You build your life brick by brick. It's through discomfort that you become successful. I have never met or known anybody who is comfortable in their life who is seeking success, because they're fine. Even if you were handed everything that you wanted growing up. Let's say that your parents set you up with businesses. Let's say that you were raised with a silver spoon, basically. You know, you eventually at some point in your life you feel lost. You don't know who you are. And so these people succumb to all sorts of addictions and distractions because they're lost. So my advice to anybody who wants to become successful, which is, by the way, the same advice that I'm following, is that know yourself first. And once you know yourself, this is really bothering me if you can't tell. Once you really know yourself, you can then begin to pursue the path of your fullest potential. And that means becoming whole, becoming unified. So wholeness is essentially understanding oneself fully as matter, as spirit. I'm so mad at those. I cannot believe. I was like gonna do something with it and then I just like left it, and then now I hit record and it's really, really bothering me. But I feel like, you know those dogs that have like like floppy ears? That's how I feel. Okay, anyway. So pursuing the path of your fullest potential involves becoming whole. So you can only become whole once you know yourself. The process of understanding yourself is a singular one. You cannot go to anybody and be like, hey, tell me who I am. It doesn't matter if they're your coach, your mentor, your friend, your spouse, like you can't. So it's your job to discover yourself. It's your job to discover yourself from a spiritual perspective as well. So, you know, this is why, like, when people enter into organized religion, they find that it appeals to them, but then after a few years, you know, they understand that there are still some gaps within them that the religion cannot solve or heal. So you have to figure out who you are. I am telling you right now that your best bet is being alone, being singular, and studying. Like literally that's it, books. You don't even need a mentor at first. You just need yourself to mentor you. You need God. And a lot of people don't have God, and like that's the reason why we kind of fall off or fail sometimes even when we are successful. That's why addictions happen and depression happens and overthinking happens, because the mind is not controlled and we are not serving a higher power with what we do every day, you know. And by the way, God is not separate from you. Like, you guys are one and the same. God is not a separate being, a separate entity. No, he is present in and in between every single atom of existence, which is insane, but it effectively describes quantum reality. So, and people like to say that, you know, reality is a simulation and all this stuff. Just read the Bhagavatam, like read Vedic science. It's so simple. It'll map it out for you and it'll show you exactly the building blocks of matter, of reality. And when you understand kind of how everything works, how energy works, which is what part of what I teach, then you understand that we are beings of limitless energy. The body burns out, and the planets that govern the physical body, which you can see clearly in your birth chart, they also burn out, and they influence us all the time. That's why you have like Mars transits and things like that that kind of like, you know, mess you up, or you feel different at different times. You even look different. Like, no person has the same face every day, by the way, because change is the only constant. We are constantly in a state of flux, in a state of change. So this is good because we can use this ebb and flow to progress in our consciousness, in who we are. And so when we level up the consciousness via spiritual or inward seeking, then we do become a different person energetically. We can even alter our DNA, stuff like that. But success is the ability to do, this is how my mentor Bashar defines success, the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. So having that ability to do your work, or like whatever it is that you need to do when you need to do it, that is success. That is abundance. That's prosperity. So it's not that success is a destination. You know, I have friends that are millionaires and like they're just normal people, you know, and they're amazing, they're brilliant, you know, they've done some amazing stuff in this life, they've created some brilliant stuff for people, but at the same time, we're all just people. We all have things that we're dealing with, we all have things that we're fighting, things that we're facing, and people need spiritual help. That is the only thing that can help us, is like actually understanding that the soul needs help, you know? So when we can solve the problems of the soul, then everything around us can be nullified as well. Every other problem can be nullified as well, because we stop having these internal energetic gaps. I want to take this out. Should I? I will actually rip it out. By the way, my door's, it's like 10,000 degrees. But basically, I'm emphasizing this point because it's easy to go on social media and to be like, oh, I wish I was as successful as them, or I wish I had this life, or whatever. But at the end of the day, they don't even have that life. Like, I know this because I post on social media. Social media is Rahu. Social media is illusion. Rahu is basically anything that is material. So like your body, your face, like your accolades, like all these things are Rahu. Social media is Rahu. It's illusion. It's literally not real. So what is the opposite of Rahu is Ketu. And these are planetary nodes. These are like nodes of polarity, kind of like the North and South Pole. So they're not physical planets in astrology, but they're points of axis. So the opposite of Rahu is Ketu. Ketu is the invisible, the unseen, that which is not matter, that which is all spirit. And Ketu, that's why like during Ketu Dasha, bro, like people really, they get a little bit, their reality crumbles. They get a little bit mystified, or their identity begins to shift and change, because suddenly, you know, that's why you're supposed to meditate. Like you're spiritually inclined, but if you are not following the path of Ketu and what Ketu is asking you to do, this is around like 50, age 50. That's also when your like third Saturn or second Saturn return happens, I think. But so if you don't actually do Ketu like remedies such as prayer, meditation, mantra, like these things, you know, people get lost. That's what it's known to be as, wait, what is it called? Like a life crisis. That's what that is. Because people are, they don't know who they are. They have an identity that they have been living with that now they're realizing that that's not them. So it's like a trippy situation. Personally, I have K2 in my first house. Isolation. I love, love, love solitude. I find that that's my life and I love it, and it's just always been that way. And I, you know, I'm a very prayerful person. I'm meditating constantly and stuff, and so I'm like, I'm really not here. Like, like that's why I've said before, like I don't exist. When I say that, I just mean that I'm mostly spirit at this point, honestly. So like, yeah, just depending on where you have K2 in your chart, you'll see some evidence of that. K2 9th house is really good. K2 9th house is really good for spiritual development as well. I believe I have K2 in my first house, but this is not about me. So yeah, people think that like the planets don't govern them, and oh, nothing is connected. Everything is connected to everything else. So the choices that you make today were influenced by the thoughts that you thought yesterday. You understand? And the choices that you make will affect everything. So it's just good to just be aware of like who we are and know what actions we need to take, and only do those things. For example, if I know that, or for example, if I don't know that I want to do something specifically, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait. I may like set it up so that when I want to do it, if I want to do it, I can just go do it. But I won't take action until I'm 100% sure, because you cannot unact, you know? So just things to think about. But yeah, success is having the ability to be abundant. And abundance is having the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. So don't ever compare yourself to anybody else or think that your path to success has to be harder or look the same as someone else's. You have to become disciplined, yes. You have to become whole, integral, and have integrity, which is what wholeness is. In the sense that you become fully developed, right? But your path is your path, and it's different from anybody else's. So just keep that in mind and understand that, you know, we are all meant to do our best and meant to try and, you know, meant to strive for tapping into our fullest potential. But ultimately, we cannot compare ourselves to anyone else. We can't. And we shouldn't, because that's how you stay off your path of success. Remember, eyes on your own paper. You got to keep your eyes on your own paper if you want to make anything in this life happen. So, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos just like this. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.